Oh, hi everybody. It's Carlos. Uh yeah, so this is what happens when you schedule a guest and then you write his email down wrong.
No!
Ah. Yeah, so that just happened and then Charlie is stuck at work. So Jack and I decided, since we had a really cool time um, talking art and all that good stuff. Right now, what I'm trying to do is find the chat room. Here we go. So instead of letting the fuel die down of the random art challenge thing that we have going on, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about certain art topics. And if you're listening or if you're participating live in the chat, let us know. We're going to talk about a few things. We just don't have a guest, and we're going to be drawing, hence Sketch Zone. But if you guys are watching this on YouTube, it's not going to make it to what you call it, iTunes or whatever, just because it's probably going to be a bunch of silly chat. But if you have an idea for the name of this random drawing prompt for the show, reach out and let us know. Yeah, with that being said, let me introduce Jack Kasperzak.
Hello. It's just us today.
It's going to be quiet.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah. So this art prompt thing that we haven't named yet. We do have a theme song.
Oh, hold up. Hang on. You know what happened? See, we're all kinds of unprepared today
I'm telling you.
because I got it, but my cue for where it kicks in wasn't working. So we're going to get more than we bargained for.
Let's go to the canvas.
All right.
Let's go to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint. I believe.
I know you want to end it at every day's a good day.
Yeah. Right now it's right now
it's a good day.
We're working through some bugs.
I swear we've done this 100 times plus.
Yeah, this would literally be 115. But yeah, so just as a reminder, last week our the random prompt was a futuristic mechanic fixing an alien's busted spaceship. So one of the cool guys that I actually have a theme song for this, but I don't know if it's going to make sense. Maybe I'll play it one day. I don't want anyone to get all blushy and stuff. It's a good one though. So this is Shiloh Gordon. If you guys aren't following Shiloh on Instagram,
do it now.
Get your hand spanked. Go to Instagram.com/Shiloh SHILOH illustration. And yeah,
Good
so
stuff.
this is his interpretation of futuristic mechanic fixing an alien's busted spaceship. Yeah, pretty cool. I do know he uses Photoshop, and he has I want to say it's probably a one of those mobile Wacom Cintiqs. We talked about it a little bit on Instagram this week.
Fun prompt. I think he just named it.
Fun prompt.
I mean, it's better than what we had. Is the fun prompt from this week's sketch.
Fun prompt. I like that. Let's write that down.
I'm writing it down.
Attaboy.
Because I believe
everything is better when you illustrate. So yeah, so that was his. And then I'm going to show you guys mine.
Gonna call me out.
Bam!
Hey, look at that.
Wait a minute.
Well, we got a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to say fairness and Photoshop skills. We talked about, because I did one in Photoshop. I was telling you right before the show, I did one in Photoshop. I could probably find it super quick too. Well, that's the original. That's my sketch layer. I did that in Photoshop. I moved his hand out of the way because I don't want it to block his face and stuff. But then I was wrestling with these brushes, man. And I was just like, screw it. I'm going to do it in Sketchbook Pro. And then I stayed way truer to the actual drawing.
Yeah, you did.
So Photoshop got a bad rap.
I like it. We got a kid in the laundry basket and what's the meter with the letters on it?
That's one of those things that I didn't put the drawstring, but you pull the string and the spins around.
A.
A is for apple.
The cow says.
Yeah. So that was mine.
I like it. Kind of unexpected. I wish I had one to share, but I have a cool sketch that I promised to share, and I left it on my desk at work.
And I think that's important to tell, to let people know. This is for practice.
Yeah.
So if you have a sketch, if you have the time to finalize it, kind of like Shiloh and I did, do that. That's cool. That's worth it. Yeah. It's just getting people throwing some pixels around.
Yeah, I think it's a good time just to see how everybody interprets it, get people involved, communicating with each other, and I don't think anyone should feel pressured to do it, but if they do it, I don't think they need to feel compelled to push it to any certain level of degree. I think process phases and videos or images are just as fun as completed ones. So
yeah.
I think whatever you guys got will be fun to see.
Huh. So I believe everything is better when you paint.
Let's go up to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
I have to learn the theme song, because if I'm going to be saying it, I say all the wrong words.
You say everything is better when you, or something like that.
Yeah, everything is better when you, and it's every day is better when you paint.
Every day is a good day when you paint.
See, I feel like my mom when she sings songs, and I'm like, those aren't the words. That's the way I sing it. I'm like, okay, all you. Do you.
Get set in your ways. Don't care if that's not how it goes.
I don't care. Should we initiate the prompt for next week?
Yeah, is this a good deal? Let's do that.
Okay, so are you in the mood for anything specific, like character, creature, environment, object, situation, a challenge? Not challenge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Challenges.
You know what I should do? Because this is going to be a weekly thing. What I should do is just put everything in a everything gets a card or something, and then we pick.
Because everything's better when with a card.
All right. How about we do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know what the easiest way. Anyway, you not environments. Let's not do environments. That's for when Charlie's here. So 2, 3, 4.
I mean, characters are always good.
4.
And it's like a
character. All right. Way to make a decision. I'm going to click character.
But don't necessarily read the first one because it might be terrible. Just kidding.
A rock star on a dark stage lit by a single spotlight.
Not quite what I expected, but I'll go with it.
Let's talk about specific.
Yeah, that's really specific. I can roll with that.
Or we could do a young woman floated above the ground emitting a dark. No, we're gonna do this.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, keep going. What was that one?
A young woman floated above the ground, emitting a dark aura.
Ooh.
Her eyes shone white.
Ooh.
So what's that X-Man?
Storm?
Yeah, they just got done watching X-Men.
She's an X-woman. I'm down with either.
I should have never hit refresh.
You don't like them?
No, they're fine. But we're
all right.
we're
right.
We're having a hard time.
Let's go with the Rockstar. That was the first one.
That was the first. Yeah, I'm sitting here. All right, cool.
Anybody got time for that?
So that's it. A rock star on a dark stage, lit by a single spotlight.
All right. Well, while I come up with a concept, we should. We got some topics to talk about. Yeah.
True story. Actually, before we do that, when someone throws a topic like this at you, rock star on a dark stage lit by a single spotlight, what do you try to get to first, like in your brain?
Well, okay. It depends on. Some of it just depends on like the mood I'm in. Am I just trying to exercise some drawing skills and not think too hard? If that's the case, I'll just go for the literal. I'll just kind of, I would literally draw a rock star on a stage, probably in some some dynamic pose, and just kind of, it's more of just an exercise of running through the anatomy and running through some character design concepts. But if I'm feeling a little more, frisky and I'm trying to come up with something fun, then I actually think about the words themselves and like what it's creating in my mind. So obviously you could just take the concept as is, but take it in kind of a creative, moody way and really think about how lighting's going to affect it, how like the depth or the character's pose is going to start to tell a little bit of a story. Like, do I want to tell a story? What props or action or facial expression is going to tell a story? Or you could kind of break it down and like have fun with the actual words that are there. So it's like a rock star. Like one of the things that crossed my mind was it's like a rock star that's literally a rock that has like a star painted on it. And maybe he's like carrying a guitar or something. That's a little too like pun driven and kind of silly for my style, but it was something that crossed my mind.
The guitar. What would the guitar be made out of though? I mean, if we're gonna go wacky, the guitar would be like,
like a dandelion or something, maybe.
Or it's litter, and it's one of those little the toothpick things with the string that's like bowed out.
Oh yeah, the floss thing. And it's like we can make an ad for "Don't litter" or something like that.
Or brushing your nasty teeth.
Be a rock star. don't litter. And brush your nasty teeth. I don't know. What about you? That's kind of how I generally work.
Let's see. I try to picture a lot like what you said. I try to picture the setting, because that's like in this instance literally sets the stage. But then it depends on what I'm obsessing over at the time. So if I feel that minute, I feel like being clever and funny, I might go the rock with the star, or a star-shaped rock, and a tooth flossy thing. But if I'm obsessed at the time with a super dynamic pose, then I'll go in that direction. You know, it depends on it depends on what I'm trying to accomplish with my brain and my motor skills at the time.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it's all comes down to. It's like where your brain's at. Has it been a long draining day and you're just trying to do something and exercise the muscles, or are you trying to be clever and make a statement here?
Right.
That's kind of where it starts, I think.
And I think what I'm going to do is, while we talk, I'm just going to share my screen. And if anyone in the chat room wants to chime in, what we're doing is Carlos messed up emails. And so email accounts and the invitations and stuff. So our guest wasn't 100% sure that we were actually doing this tonight. So as punishment, we're going to draw live. And so we did, we have our weekly.
Take that, sucker.
We have our weekly, what did Shiloh call
Fun
it?
prompt.
Fun prompt. We have the Sketch Zone fun prompt.
Impromptu.
And the
impromptu
is a rock star on a dark stage lit by single spotlight. So I'm going to share my screen as we.
Yeah, I'm going to share the screen. The other thing I like to do is sometimes if I get a concept, I just quickly browse and not obsess, because you can easily get so distracted by research and reference that you never actually do anything. I don't know if you're guilty of that, but I am, that I kind of go down the reference hole and then I never actually do anything. So if I have an idea, like based off some key thing, I'll quickly type that into Google and just actually quickly scroll, and I'll show you. Like, I had this idea all of a sudden that I think I want to make this rock star an insect. So here, let me show you. And I'm thinking small. So we're gonna go like macro lens style. So I just typed in insect character just because I want to see like what I'm working with, what I'm thinking styles. And obviously there's a whole ton of stuff already done from Disney, Pixar, who knows what else, like random clip art. And I'm not trying to like focus on any one thing. I don't even really want to click on anything because then I'll probably go down the reference hole. So I'm just kind of, okay, yeah, maybe this would work. And then that's a good way for me to gauge if I'm even on like the right concept that I think I want to do, or if I need to think of something else. But I'm thinking that this will probably work. So at risk of just ripping off someone else's stuff, I'm going to switch gears and get into drawing.
For some reason, my screen share is broken. Be right back. Cool. So it looks like you have Photoshop open.
I do. I am choosing the Photoshop today. I don't know why. It's just what I had open. I actually don't have much else on my big computer at my desk here. I have a very old version of Sketchbook Pro that I don't really use. So I often, when I'm drawing on my big desktop here, I'm usually using Photoshop. If I'm on the go, then I've got some other options. I'm usually either Procreate, Sketchbook Pro, or there's some like other really random like doodling things that aren't particularly like well known or even that good. But if there's like a specific task I'm trying to accomplish, there's a cool one called Sumi. Kind of simulates. I think that's what it's called. Hang on, keep going.
While you're doing that,
yourself.
The app I have open is called Mischief. It's one of the cool things is it's super cheap. And number two is when I'm brainstorming, For some reason, I mean, I can sketch around in Photoshop when I know what I want to draw, but I always feel like I'm enclosed, like I'm running out of space for some reason. Whereas Mischief, like I can draw, this guy here, and then if I zoom way in, like I have to remember my shortcuts now. There we go. I can draw in the same size and everything, and then I can zoom back out and you get the original shape. You zoom back in and it's still the original shape. Whereas in Photoshop, you can't quite do it like this. But I'm going to be talking Shiloh because he's my hero. I've watched some of his videos and stuff, and he uses Photoshop for his stuff, and like he'll just draw like a character over here, and then without even deleting it, he'll just draw something else over here, and then he'll draw like the same character in a different position over here, and he just keeps searching for whatever it is that he's trying to find, right? For some reason in my brain, I feel like I'm going to run out of space or pixels or whatever. So that's what Mischief is good for, because I can just keep on drawing, and it's a infinite canvas. So you can see that, you can make that disappear. You draw something else here, and then you think to yourself, oh no, let me go back here, and it's all
yeah.
For some reason, that's just really neat to my head, to my brain.
And so, like, how does that affect you and your work style differently than, say, just making like a big ass canvas in Photoshop and just zooming in and working, in one area? And
in Photoshop, there's limits to how big you can do things. Or, like sometimes you might be drawing real small over here and real big over here. Well, this small drawing is going to be a lot less resolution because of the pixels. From what I understand, Mischief is a vector-based program. And so I'm trying to find my mouse, and it keeps hiding behind my Cintiq. So for me, I don't like erasing drawings, if that makes sense. I like to draw over here, and I don't want to, erase something that doesn't work, because whatever is happening over here might trigger an idea, when you're fishing for shapes and characters and stuff. So, and sometimes you'll nail the face, and you're like, all right, cool, that makes sense. But then you start drawing over here and you get something else, and you're like, all right, well, anyway, it's a mental thing. I think it's a comfort thing. I like to feel like I have plenty of space.
I get that. I mean, I think that's kind of one of the phobias of working. I don't get that so much digitally, but I definitely have it when I pop open like a new sketchbook. It's kind of like, I wouldn't even call it like fear of the blank page. It's like fear of starting something and not fitting it in everything I want to say in there, or like, composing it poorly or something. And then I got to like start over or bleed over onto another page. And it kind of gets into this like weird, I've had that. But all I'm trying to say is I've had that, but it tends to more be like on traditional medium.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, just being able to, so you have an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
and then the
And
eraser.
I mean, even in Photoshop that doesn't have, infinite canvas. Like, if I'm in the middle of working and I'm like, nuts, I need 3 more inches. Like, I can just bust out the crop tool and expand it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's really not that big of a deal.
And what's funny is I'll be sitting there with a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'll start drawing, and then I might make a mistake or whatever. And I'm like, man, I wish I had the undo. I have an eraser in my hand. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my undo. I just got an idea for this, and it had nothing to do with. I just did a search for extreme rock poses, and it's people literally hanging off of cliffs and stuff. But
I don't think that's quite what you wanted, but that's what's actually kind of fun about Google, though, is you type in something and you sometimes get stuff really unexpected, and in a way that's like a cool brainstorming tool. I don't know if you've ever done that, but like if I have like a word or a term or something, like I just type it in just to see what else it's related to or what else it can kind of spawn.
yeah, I'll do that. And then if it triggers something, like I just did the rock poses and I saw people dangling from cliffs, I was like, what if it was a single spotlight, right? But the Rockstar is like stage diving.
There you go.
Like a super, like he's like, the spotlight is super hot. Because what if that was a heat lamp? This is one of the cool things. I'm going to revisit that. This is where I'm going. But check this out. This is one of the cool things I like about Mischief. Let's say I had my reference material. So here's a bunch of stave divers. It needs to be like extremely, because if I'm gonna have him jumping out, I want him to just be like all in, almost like this kid right here, almost like him. But it's gonna be a lot more dramatic. Like he's gonna be all in, like chest out. This guy is a little bit scared. But now check this out. In Mischief, if I have reference material behind the application, I can click this little icon here, and it's the stage opacity, so I can drag that down.
That's awesome. You don't even have to move the window. You don't have to hit Control
Nope.
C. It's just there.
So now if I wanted to cheat, I can totally, get this.
No, I mean,
down,
why not?
right?
Get a little pose out of that. At least something to start with.
Right. So we have that gesture down, but, and it's cool because I totally scored on this Cintiq, dude. I was watching Chris Georginus. He's a Flash animator or an animator.
How do you animate with Animate?
With animate.
Do you know anyone that knows how to animate?
He was talking about getting a Cintiq. He found, or didn't find, but he got a killer deal on it. So that night I did a search on Craigslist for the Cintiq, and there was a girl that was selling it for, I forgot how much I paid, like $1,200, $1,500 for this thing. It's the Touch, and she gave me the arm with it and stuff.
Oh yeah, nice.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, so this is an extreme pose. Let's see if we can't. I want to find one where he's just like straight. Oh, Lady Gaga's jumping off. Ooh, there's some inappropriate actions in these rock concerts. What are you kids doing? Inappropriate. Boom. See,
Look at that dude.
I like that. I like that. So dude's head, his shoulders are like way back here. And then this is where, actually, I'm gonna stretch this out. One of the cool things that I don't know, were you at that one? I don't know. We had Brother Man Comics on a couple of times, and I think it was the second time they were on. Dawood Anyabuile was talking about how he likes to stretch his poses.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of what attracted me to your work. It's really cool to be able to talk to the people that you look up to and be like, yeah, keep doing that because that's cool. Not like he needs to listen to me at all, but I want that, but I need dude's legs to be like straight up. Like he bought into this dive. He just wants it all.
Yeah, like he's going for it.
He wants it all. Bam. Like while I'm doing this, if you guys are not following CTN does not pay us to say these things. But like if you guys aren't following CTN on Facebook, you should. At least 2 days a week, they have these live streams of they have live models of life drawing, and it's for a solid hour, 2 hours, and you get life drawing skills. Like I'll be sitting watching TV with those guys there, doing their thing, and you get just watching TV. You get portfolio pieces. It's amazing. All right, so now I have dude's booty is huge, but it is what it is.
So I'm trying to find this composition in this character. Got this thing that I want, like this bug ant type character. Not prepared to go on stage. I really like awkward stuff. I find that funny, like awkward looking characters or characters that have like gotten caught off guard or just not ready for the situation. So I'm gonna do this ant that's like probably never performed before in his life, or at least just wasn't ready for this one. And I'm gonna have a little lightning bug shining his ass as the spotlight. But I wasn't happy with the first pose I did. It felt a little stiff, especially after hearing Carlos, you talk about pushing these poses. So I want something a little more posture to
it. That's one of the things that I try to force myself now, because I find that my poses a lot of times are just really, I guess, boring, and that's the difference between if you're trying to be, if you have good mechanics as an artist. All right, I think I have my base pose. Let me see if this guy, all right, maybe that shoulder is there. trying to figure out if we see that arm up here or down here. Do what we do. And the thumbs will be on the outside. Or should he be? Anyway, yeah, so if you have good mechanics as an artist and you just feel like your poses aren't that strong, or you're not, depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, if you're not getting that many likes on Instagram, it could be something as simple as that. It might be that your posing is, you get used to drawing, everyone draws people just standing there, right? And the feet point the right way or the same way. And the arms are down here. And then, okay, that's fine. That's a good solid pose, but it's not that dynamic. Whereas if you take the head, move the head a little bit, and even if you just bow out the chest and the tummy area, you bring this leg down, this toe might point that way, and watch how, if you point the other toe the other direction, and then you drop the shoulders, arms, and hands, look at how it's basically the same pose, the same guy, the same everything. You're just adding a little bit of this line of action is straight up and down, whereas this one turns into more of a C. And the more books you read, the more you'll know that this is pretty boring. Everything needs to be a C, backward C, or an S, or a smoothed out Z. Everything should have some sort of movement to it. So if you wanted to be super, super picky, that pose right there is a backwards S. So those are the things that I've been trying to do to add a little bit more life to my drawings, because I know compared to Shiloh gets like 3,000 something per drawing, and I get like 15, and 14 of those are my mom.
Singing the wrong lyrics.
Maybe this dude he doesn't have a shirt on, so maybe he had like a mic or some kind of, maybe a cross, because Rockstars all believe in Jesus. But he's got to have like maybe a Jimi Hendrix kind of. What were we doing with his hands? If he's all in, I think his hands would be doing that, and his thumb is on the inside now. I'm in. Speaking of software, Procreate. I know you're a user of Procreate. They're preparing for the latest update to iOS.
Yeah.
Procreate is for those of you that don't know, Procreate is a wonderful drawing application that's only on the iPad. They have an iPhone, I guess I should say iOS versions. But their main one is on the iPad. And I was talking to Shiloh on Instagram, and he said that he hasn't gotten into it all the way yet, but he wants to. And but anyway, they're having a public beta. You can apply to be on their public beta. Did you do that yet?
Yeah, I did.
Did you? Cool.
Ready for that.
Yeah, it's going to be neat.
Yeah, I was watching the video of the new features. It seems like there's, I mean, the wet brush engine alone is kind of pretty spectacular.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. I signed up for that. I stalk them on Instagram.
You know, I just can't. It's pretty incredible stuff. I mean, I don't know how they program all this stuff into the processor of like an iPad. It's just pretty amazing to me. I mean, obviously it's not as clunky of a program as Photoshop with as many bells and whistles and stuff, and I think that's a big part of it. But I mean, the fact that you can stream your live, stream your artwork live in full HD,
right?
And it doesn't even affect like the speed or the feedback of the drawing. Like it's just I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And like if the wet brush thing is as cool as it looks, I I remember when Painter was, and you'd make some of those brushes, you would make a stroke and you would be waiting.
Yeah.
Like it was cool. Like the stuff it did, it was really cool. But like the engine that calculated that stuff, sometimes you'd have to wait. And even some of the more complicated Photoshop brushes, like you have a good machine, and it's like those ones that are layered or have like 3 or 4 brushes mixed together, they're kind of blending and all that stuff. It's like they drag behind, and Procreate has somehow
they've
really figured out the speed.
They've definitely made a deal with the devil because everything is really cool. And then you get into the customized brushes and stuff, and it, very cool. So real quick, if you guys want to try to sign up for the Procreate public beta, go to public.procreate, PROCREATE.art. public.procreate.art. I'm going to drop that in the live chat. Yeah, so that is, I wanted to show you one of the other cool things. Like you can get totally lost in mischief, because if you look, you can zoom all the way out and it's an infinite canvas. So with infinite possibilities comes infinite possibilities of getting lost. So I can, like, if this is the one that I'm going to go with here. Your thumb would go up, and in. I'll figure that out later. Anyway, so this is my pose. I'm gonna work on this one. I need to figure out how I'm gonna get the light in there. But if I go to these pins here, there's a little tab called pins. I can set a pin or create a new pin. Boom. I can double click it. I'm going to name it. Actually, instead of Rockstar, I'm going to stage dive. Right. So now, if I click on home, poof, these are the drawings that I first started out with. And then if I wanted to, I can come here and create a new pin, poof, and name that Spotlight. So now I can flip through this infinite canvas and go to the different parts of the canvas, and it helps you maintain. And that's miraculous, especially when you've done like me. You zoom in, you're getting a feel for a drawing, And then you're like, oh man, where was that other thing? And you're like scrolling and scrolling. Or if you get to this part here, you zoomed out so much that it looks like a empty canvas, and you move it all over the place.
You can't find where you
And
are.
you don't know where you are. Now I can click stage dive and it takes me right there. Mischief is a super simple, I like to call it a brainstorming program. It has multiple layers too. Oh, and you can have like, you can set different paper. Check that out. Boom. Hell yeah.
Some homemade custom paper.
What else? There's like different, you can create a new layer. I was going to do this because you can come in here and get I don't know what it is about a red brush. The normal red brush that comes with the default for Procreate, you can draw, and it obviously has the pressure sensitivity to it, but then it overlays itself. Maybe it doesn't. I lied. Just kidding. There it is. Yeah. So it's like a marker brush. For some reason, it just makes sense to my brain. I can come in here and just be like, start throwing down ideas.
Ideas.
I do, dear Claire. All right, so let's go. The pins, stage dive. I'm going to do a file, export image. It's going to ask me, do you want to do the physical canvas? Do you want to do the selection if I were to have made a selection, or you can export the pins? And that's what's really cool too, is you take the pins and you can export those as separate files. Totally cool.
And how does it know? How does it know? What do you mean separate files? Like, how does it know what's part of that pin? Just that frame that you're looking at, or?
Yeah. So this is what you see here is the visible canvas. I can go through and like export this, even though it doesn't make any sense because the drawings are cut off, and it'll export just what you see here. If you do the separate pins, it'll consider this, what you see here, as one file. This is another file, and this is yet another file. And it's the area that you see. Or you can click on the little selection tool. What does this guy do? Oh, shapes tools. All right, cool. You can click on the selection tool. You can click and make a square or a rectangle around this drawing here, and then I can do file, export image, and now you see the selection.
Fancy.
I'm going to do that. And you can do file type as PNG, JPEG, or PSD, which is also pretty neat. I'm going to do that. Click next. Let's save this to desktop. Let's do stage dive. So now I'm going to switch over to the desktop. Poof. Where'd you go? Desktop. There you go. So now you see what.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
And like, can you set the resolution of what that saves, or it's just kind of automatic?
Let's see. Save. Let's ask export image. Yeah, you can do resolution, height, width, all that good stuff.
It's cool. I like that.
I wonder, let's do, if you did this selection, file, export. Yeah, you can even set the resolution for, or no, that's okay, cool. Yeah. All right, that's neat. So yeah, I've seen some very fancy work done in Mischief, but I'm not that guy. You're using Photoshop, so should I use? I'm trying to think. You're using Photoshop. Should I jump into Photoshop or should I jump into Sketchbook Pro?
You should do Sketchbook Pro.
I like that. First decision made tonight.
It's not true. I said pick a character.
I'm
on it.
Very true. I'd be lost without you.
I'm making all sorts of calls.
I'd be lost without you.
That's what I do.
All right.
Lost without you.
Now, what's interesting though is the pencil brush in Sketchbook Pro is by far my favorite.
It's pretty nice, yeah.
By far my favorite. And you don't even need, like Kyle Webster. He's been on the show before. He's been on Adobe and stuff. You
don't even need Kyle Webster.
But I didn't say that. Kyle, dude, I own your ultimate brushes. I own quite a bunch of your brushes. But this pencil, son, this pencil is bananas. Bananas.
Banana.
Anyway, I digress. Let's do this. Hey, any of you viewers, if you guys have any questions, please let us know. Or hey, you want to be crazy? If you guys want to jump on the show, don't send Carlos your email address because he's going to ruin it anyway. But if you guys want to come and draw with us, let us know. We're here for you. You know why? Because every day is a, what's the words? Every day is a good day when you paint.
There you go.
Yeah, son. See, I learn from time to time.
That's
All right. Let's bring that bad boy down. I need to find space for the spotlight though. Like I'm doing my own thing and I'm not following the rules.
That's kind of what this is, you know. If you start out drawing a Rockstar and you end up with squid, it's all good.
There's some really good squid bands out there.
It's true. It could be a band of squids.
All right. I need to figure out because I need dude's mouth to be like, ah. Or maybe he's just, no, he's got to be aggressive. Yeehaw. He is in it to win it.
He's hoping they're going to catch him. some crowd diving.
Yeah. Coming to find out, it was a Wednesday night. Everyone has to get up. Everyone has to get up early in the morning.
I did arms yesterday at the gym. I don't want to pick this dude up. I'm gonna step out of the way.
You gonna make me spill my drink, son? Yeah, we'll figure that out. That's just wrong. I got.
He's got them tight pants on.
Oh yeah, he does. I gotta take a look at angry face. Angry face. Oh, dude. Talk about angry face.
Yeah, there he is.
This kid.
That dude's a rock star.
So yeah, it's almost. So okay, so number one, this is wrong. I just got an idea. Even though he's wearing a t-shirt, he also has an ascot slash bandana.
An ascot.
This lip is crazy. This baby is just not having it. Goodness. That's kind of. I like this though. Let's do this. Angry face. Here we go. Much more better. That's the face. Thank you, Shutterstock. Starting to look like an old lady.
Could be an old lady. Old ladies know how to rock.
Oh yeah, they do. I'm gonna check it on you.
You got an awkward looking.
Yes. He's got all the hands.
And not one of them knows what they're about to do.
See, and then I'm not gonna lie, right now I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I want to be more cartoony. But too bad. This does not happen. Feet. Yes, feet.
Bare feet.
You know what's funny is another thing that I really have to work on is, is giving people 5 fingers.
Yeah, it's such a cartoon habit that I mean, it's not necessary, but it is something that I find that I don't even think about until after it's added, and then I'm like, huh, I give that dude 3 fingers. And sometimes it works. You just leave it. But
Okay. So that's I found. Dude bought all the way in. One of the other things I like about Sketchbook Pro, when you're flipping around in Photoshop and you're zooming and rotating and everything, you have to have a bunch of different keys, and you do this, right? Sketchbook, you have spacebar, and then this little puck shows up, and you can zoom, you can rotate, you can pan. I'm like, it's amazing how much faster you get around a drawing just by doing that.
yeah, it seems pretty efficient. I have not used Sketchbook in a while.
They did a good job. Doing a good job. Let's do drawings. And all this drawing, and I just realized that I don't have it staged yet. So let's do this. So if there's supposed to be a spotlight, the spotlight might do one of these guys here. And he's just, what are we doing? Where's gotta bring this over here. You know what might be super dramatic? Actually, what if he was, instead of these yoga pants, What if he's in these nice tidy whities? He's got to have pit hairs. Oh, what would that look like? That's so cool. What we can do. Let's see. We can get some sound, cloud.
So we got S. Carrillo
Steve.
asking, how often do you guys find yourself drawing traditionally, and do you prefer one over the other?
Yeah, what do you think?
I actually find myself drawing traditionally quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, I'm fairly comfortable with it, and that's kind of where I come from. And to be honest, a lot of times it's like, I'm just going to squeeze in a quick drawing before this meeting or during this meeting, or,
Yeah.
and obviously big complex final pieces.
Can you hear that?
No.
I was just gonna.
Did I? Ooh.
How about now?
It's loud, yeah.
I mean, I think it's too loud.
So obviously, like, big finished pieces that I expand upon tend to go digital at some point, just for cleanup phase, or if I'm gonna. Also depends on the output, but I just find sometimes doing traditional is just easier, and it's just, there's something. I mean, even though now that we're to the point with Cintiqs and you have a stylus in your hand and there's that kind of hand-eye coordination connection thing happening, it's still, to me, not quite the same as what happens when you're doing it with a pen or pencil or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think there is a mental shift. There's a totally different mentality, even though the output is the same and the intent is the same. There is something about paper being more permanent.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just immediately have that thought that whatever you put down is somewhat concrete, and you end up drawing, I think, with a little more confidence. Or at least not confidence, some regret. You throw away a lot more paper or start over a lot more often. But I think once you get in the groove, you end up drawing with a lot more confidence. I actually think the technicals of my drawing, the anatomy and the craftsmanship is generally better when I'm doing it traditionally.
I do both quite a bit. Quite honestly, it's almost like, what photographers say, the best camera you have, or what is it? The best camera you can use is the one you have.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of it for me. Because I'm trying to get better, and everyone says, oh, 50,000 hours and all this stuff, and so I pushed myself to draw a lot, and I think we were talking about this, Steve, before you came on, where I'll sit and I watch CTN's live stream of life drawing and stuff. And I'm just sitting around doing that. Generally speaking, if I'm home, I have my iPad with me, and I'm loading that thing up full of a bunch of horrible drawings. With the understanding that every bad drawing that I'm doing now is one less bad drawing that I'm going to do later. And so if I'm just sitting around doodling and stuff, and generally speaking, I'll have an iPad or something with me. But my wallet is a sketch wallet, and we had Ralph Thomas on the show before. So if I'm just out and about, or um, like standing in line somewhere at the DMV or whatever it is. What I end up doing is taking out my wallet and working on something. I mean, there's no better life drawing. Well, I guess there probably is better life drawing, but it's really good life drawing. You're at the DMV waiting or something. Like, you get so many different reactions, so many goofy people. You could just scribble it down. If you're thinking of a cartoon idea, you can just pull out your wallet and throw down, quick sketch, whatever, if you're just trying to kill some time. I prefer, okay, so the feel of it, the process, if you're talking the feel of the process, I love pencil and paper. But then the cheapskate in me thinks to myself, well, you're going to have to buy paper soon, so go digital and then just go for it, right? But yeah, I like digital too, because you go from beginning to end so fast these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But for the most part, if I'm sitting around the house, I have some kind of digital something. If I'm in my office, I'm trying to put miles on this Cintiq just because it was it's expensive. But plus, I would love to one day be somewhere and then like, oh, we have this thing, and you're like, oh yeah, I have a Cintiq at home. I already know. I'm already well versed. I know how to set up the shortcuts. I know how to do all that goofy stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, one of the other topics that we were going to talk about, if you're an artist and you want to get into drawing digital and stuff, an alternative to getting a Cintiq. So the benefit of having a Cintiq is you have a really nice graphics tablet, and it's connected to Photoshop and everything. It's fantastic. Downside is it's expensive. Not a lot of people can afford a Cintiq. An alternative would be, if you have an iPad, there's this software called AstroPad. And basically what that is it turns your, let me save this before it turns your iPad into basically a Cintiq. And the benefit to that is you can use your iPad as whatever you want to, whatever you use your iPad for. And then you come home and then you can use AstroPad and use it as a digital input device. I know I use it. Jack, do you use AstroPad?
You know, I when they first released it, and I got really excited about it, and I played with it for a while, but I never. Well, and that was also, you know, before I had an iPad Pro. I was trying to use it as almost just like a secondary access point to my computer. I wasn't really using it for art. But then when I got the iPad Pro, it clicked in and it made a lot more sense. But you know, I never really got into it as like an actual device to, because I know now, I mean, it's synced pretty well, and there's a lot of functionality, obviously, especially if you have Bluetooth keyboard and all that stuff, it really kind of accesses it. And I know you can either use it as a secondary monitor type of thing, or you can also use it just as a gateway into your stronger computer's Photoshop. Yeah, it never really fully clicked for me, I guess, because part of me was like, if I'm going to use Photoshop, I'll just go sit at the computer. And when I'm on the go, I mean, I think Procreate is so solid that I haven't really had a need for it. But I know you're big into it. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm trying to remember what came first. I had a. Hang on, let me figure out. Oh, okay, that's this is bicep. I was like, I just put down a line. I don't know what body part it was. I used to have an old Wacom Cintiq. It was a 12WX, I think, and I had that thing for like 10 years. Finally sold it and got the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil, and then I started, and they came out with AstroPad, and it was very effective. The only, and this is being so completely, I guess unfair might be a good word. This is small. When you're drawing on the iPad Pro compared to, I mean, this thing is, I think, 22 inches. This Cintiq is 22 inches. So there's a big difference when you're, like they say, oh, make a circle. They say make a circle with your, with your shoulder, not your wrist, that kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm being really picky when I say, oh, it's small. It's actually not. Like, I'll be downstairs watching TV with my iPad Pro connected to to my little laptop. I have tons of technology. PS, by the way. And I'll just be using Photoshop or Sketchbook Pro or whatever like that. And it works. It works beautifully. I mean, the Apple Pencil is a game changer. That alone.
Yeah, it is.
I like drawing with the Apple Pencil better than the.
I agree. I think something about it feels a little more natural, but I also think the response, and I don't know how, I mean, you obviously would know how AstroPad has done it, but at least in apps native to the iPad, like the response and just kind of the fluidity is, to me, kind of unmatched. But I don't know if AstroPad channels that stuff, or if it's then, like, how does the pressure sensitivity and this stuff, since you're accessing your main computer, like how does that translate across?
You have to get used to this. It's a little bit of a drag. When you're drawing, I don't know if you can see, but like imagine this line that I'm putting down, and then as I'm drawing it, it slowly disappears from back here, right? And that's the line that AstroPad is using to calculate what to put down on whatever software you're using. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
It's like there's a delay. There's a delay of the information that's being sent from the iPad to the computer. And
right.
the split second, but there's still a delay.
Mm-hmm.
But you get used to it after like 5 seconds of using it. You get used to it. I'm gonna have to get that wrinkle done before I start talking again. So if you can get used to that, and sometimes, so it connects to your computer. You can do it over Wi-Fi or the cable, USB cable, or the lightning cable, I guess. And sometimes there'll be like a hiccup in the information that's getting through, so things get pixelated. So if you're easily distracted while you're drawing, it might drive you crazy. Cintiq just, I mean, it just hammers through things.
Yeah.
And but it's again, it's, and they have a, actually before I, Astropad has a pro version to it that's, I forget, I don't know if it's a yearly thing or if it's a monthly thing, but
I think it's yearly.
so it's, yeah, I would say we can probably find out super quick, but I'm busy right now. I'm feeling pretty good about my inks. But it supposedly adds some speed to that situation, and other things like you can use your keyboard. I guess so. If you have a Bluetooth keyboard connected to your iPad, that information that you're sending via Bluetooth to the iPad will then get sent over to the computer. And you're like, okay, well, why not just connect a keyboard to your computer? Well, what if you have your computer, you remember that I said that you can connect via Wi-Fi, so I could have my computer upstairs and my iPad downstairs, and now I'm running Photoshop on my iPad, not connected to the computer.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you have a Bluetooth keyboard connected to the iPad, right? Now you're sending information to the computer via Wi-Fi, and that adds a lot to it, because now you can surf the internet and do do image searches and reply to emails, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So yeah, it does add a lot of really cool functionality to it, like necessary functionality to it. I like it a lot. It's a really cool solution for if you're not in the market for a Cintiq. So anyway, yeah, I forget. It's like the lower version. I think it's, I forget how much it costs, but then they have the yearly membership that gives you a lot of really cool functionality. Like they have other things, like you can set hotkeys up to do separate things, and those hotkeys will obviously make things a lot faster. The free version, I think you get maybe 1 or 3 hotkeys. So like if you're doing things in Photoshop that you always do, or you, whatever it is, you can set those dynamically to do exactly what you want it to do. And I think if you have the pro version, you get a lot more. But it makes a difference. I like it. There'll be sometimes I just don't want to be upstairs. It gets hot up here, so I have to go downstairs, and And so I don't have to stop being productive, and I also don't have to be in a sweat box. I'll just go get my my Apple Pencil and my iPad and my laptop. I usually connect it through the cords though. I use a lightning cable just because things are better when you're connected hardwired, but it's cool to know that you can totally still use it via Wi-Fi. So if you don't have a laptop that you can tote around, you have say an iMac or something, or Windows machine, because I believe that works on Windows. But it's a stationary computer. You can still use it and not be stuck at your desk. Anyway, all that to say, I hope I answered that question, but all that to say, the people that make flip over to the people that make Astropad are coming out with this thing called Luna display, and it's Astro HQ. Let's see. Luna display is the thing, the actual thing.
Yeah, so like, what's the difference between Luna and Astropad?
So right now Astropad copies your desktop, or copies what's being shown on the computer. And what Luna will do is it will extend your desktop. So it'll be exactly an external monitor. So it's not.
So the iPad is not functional. It's a display.
It's a display, but it is functional.
Oh, right. I see what you mean. Like it.
So for example, and I don't know. I know that this other company has updated it. If you wanted to use currently, if you wanted to use Astropad, it mirrors the desktop, and there's nothing you can do. It mirrors your computer. So if you have Photoshop running on your computer, that's exactly what you see on the iPad. There is another app called Duet that will turn your iPad into a separate monitor. So if you're out and about and you're trying to do whatever, you need two displays, you can use Duet, and you can have your computer be one screen and your iPad be an extended desktop. So if you just need more windows open, that's right. So now with Luna display, it's this little dongle that you plug into your laptop or computer. I keep saying laptop, but you can plug this into your computer, and it not only gives you the functionality of Astropad, but it also extends your desktop. So now you can still use your iPad as a external display, but instead of just a display, it'll be exactly a Cintiq like product. Let me say that.
Oh, okay. So, but now that's interesting, because I'm wondering. So, like, if you can drag like your Photoshop window or whatever over to the iPad, like that's kind of crazy. So it's yeah. Wow, I can almost just get rid of my Cintiq.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's not as big, and the Cintiq offers a couple of other things that the iPad doesn't have, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I assume that the little dongle that goes in the Lightning port, the main computer has to have that as well. Yeah, it has sort of communicating.
So the way that it works is you run AstroPad on the software runs on your computer, and then you run the app on your iPad, and then the information is transferred through this connection that the software makes with itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it currently works. So apparently there's some limitations to doing that. So what Astro HQ has done is they found a way with this little dongle to extend the desktop and extend the functionality. And there's been, I wouldn't say issues, but there would be challenges between the two, and that's why AstroPad only lets you AstroPad lets you use your AstroPad lets you use your iPad as a like a Cintiq, but it only shows what's on the computer, and then yeah, I hear you. And then what's the other one? Duet. Duet gives you the extended desktop, but it doesn't give you the extra functionality that you can.
Okay.
Right. So there's some challenges that's happening there. That's why you can do one or the other. But this new AstroPad thing, Luna Display, actually combines the two. So now you're able to extend your desktop and this little dongle that they've created is that solution. I guess it takes the information and breaks it down in their own special way. And then that way you can use it even more of as a Cintiq solution. That's my long drawn out informational version. So yeah, so wow, 2 hours flew by. Sweet baby, Jesus. I'm gonna keep working on this though, but we can. So this is my guy so far.
Oh, nice one. I like that one.
Thank you. And that's Jack's. Jack has a.
Yeah, I'm adding a butt to him.
Nice.
Realize that in order to be an ant, he needs a big ass. So
He likes big butts. I get it. The lightning bug up here. That is so cool. Dude, you're so clever. Should we? Yeah, thanks.
Thanks,
Steve, for the question. We should sign off because it's getting late.
that was fun. Kind of random.
Yeah, I like it. We should do this more often. Let me know if you're interested. What we could do is just forget to schedule people all the time.
It's not just going to become the art zone where we just doodle.
Yeah.
Which isn't half bad. Be cool to. We should get some guests on here if anyone out there is interested in coming on, just to doodle. If you don't want to be interviewed and you're afraid of looking at us, you can just flip on share screen and we can just watch your Photoshop screen the whole time. We like that stuff too.
Yeah, totally.
So let's flip it around, Carlos. If people are looking where to find you on the internet.
Ha!
Where did they find you?
Take a look at Coconut Justice. Pretty much everywhere. I've been loading up my Behance too. So if you're on Behance, look me up. I'll follow you back if you follow me. I've been putting a bunch
I'll
of.
be your best friend.
I'd be friending you and stuff. So far, we have what did Shiloh call it? Fun prompt.
Fun prompt.
Um,
If you got something else,
yeah, let us know. We're hunting for ideas. But until then, hey Jack, if people are looking for you online, where can they find you?
you can find me at sketchbookjack.com and sketchbookjack on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Charlie's favorite, Pinterest.
Pinterest, yes. Yeah, excellent. All right, I'm about to punch this out here. All right, everyone, have a good week.
All right, see you, folks.